consider myself to be any much of an expert, as many of the speakers today are, on the nuts and bolts of Kiruv. But I am an observant Jew, and I've observed something over the years which I want to share with you. It used to be that to be mekarev someone, the word mekarev was either an adjective or a verb. Now, over the last decade or so, there's a noun. There's a person, it's a job description, a mekarev. How many mekarevim are there? And the Jewish people, Erlich Yidden, are divided into the mekarevim and the non-mekarevim. One doesn't argue with contemporary terminology, but I think that Chazal looked at the entire idea of responsibility for another Jew in a totally different manner. And I want to begin by sharing with you a very fascinating medrash in Parashas Tzav. And the medrash says like this: Ma'aseh b'Reb Yanai shehoya mahalech baderech. Rabbi Yanai was going on the way, v'ro odom echad shehoya meshupa b'yoser. He saw a person who was quite affluent, well-dressed, put together, as we say. Amalei, he said to him, Mashkach Rabbi miskablo gabon, perhaps, sir, we can have you as a guest. And the man agreed. And Rabbi Yanai brings him into his house. He gave him to eat and to drink. And then he begins talking and learning with him. Bodkai b'mikra, you know a little chumash? Nothing doing. Loi matzoi. Didn't learn. But Mishnah, maybe you learned some Mishnayos. Nothing. Loi matzoi. Ba'agoda, maybe you listen to the rabbi's sermon, a little agadata. Nothing. But Talmud, maybe Gemara, you're not into this Chumash stuff. Go straight to the Gemara. No. Okay. Amalei. He said to him, okay, at least maybe you want a bench. You want a bench mezumin? The gentleman did not know how. But he wanted to elegantly duck. So he said, Yivarach Yanai bebeisei. You're the master of the house, you bench, not the oreach. So Rabbi Yanai says to him, Isbach emor mada ano omar lacha. Can you repeat after me? Are you able to do that? He said, yeah. Amalei, listen to what Rabbi Yanai tells him. Emor, say, Ochal kalba piste the Yanai. The dog, meaning you, ate Yanai's food. Nice, huh? He's into Kiruv, Rabbi Yanai. Come. The gentleman got up, tafsei. He grabbed Rabbi Yanai by his shirt, and he said to him, who are you to talk to me like that? Yerusasi gaboch. You have my inheritance, my heirloom, my stuff is sitting by you. Da'at monali, and you are restraining me from accessing what is mine. Amalei, what are you talking about? Umar Yerusasach Kabi, I never met you before. Your Yerusha, your inheritance is by me. Amalei, he says, yeah. Chadzman havavina ovar kame beit sifra. I was passing by a school, and I heard the kids singing. And what were they saying? Torah tziva lanu Moshe, Meirasha kehilas Yaakov. This gentleman was sharp. He says, Meirasha kehilas Yanai ein ksiv kan. It doesn't say kehilas Yanai. It says kehilas Yaakov, and that's me. Okay. And Rabbi Yanai accepted this person's musar. What's going on over here? Clearly, Rabbi Yanai was not insulting him. He was not trying to make fun of him. But let's start from the beginning. A man who obviously was not down and out. He was wealthy, he was well-to-do, he was put together. And in the time of the Amoraim, he never learned a word. And he has the temerity to say, my inheritance is by you? What's he thinking? If it's so important, why didn't you bother accessing it until now? Question number one. And question number two, what's gabach? By you. You, Rabbi Yanai. I have a right to Judaism. I have a right to learn, but that Rabbi Yanai is responsible? Gabach? And Rabbi Yanai accepted that. You're right, it is by me. And on a side point, what was Rabbi Yanai calling him a kelev? Not the greatest compliment. Not the way to be makar of a guest. What's he telling him? What's the back and forth? He gives Rabbi Yanai Musa, and Rabbi Yanai says, you're right. So I want to just move aside the kelev issue, and then we'll get to the focus. The Gemara says in Masechta Nedarim, about a certain kind of a neder, the Gemara describes a person who is a taker and not a giver. Lav kalba ano, the Gemara says. I'm not a dog who takes and who doesn't give. The definition of a melech, lav malka ano, a melech is one who gives and doesn't take. A dog is one who takes and doesn't give. And Rabbi Yanai was telling this gentleman, you never learned a word. What are you taking out of Judaism? And the man tells Rabbi Yanai, it's my Yerusha. What does it mean, it's my Yerusha? That is what I would like to focus on, and we will see, hopefully, that the division, as it were, of Mekarvim and non-Mekarvim is, I think, a bit contrived. It may be that there's no choice but to use a word to describe people, but in reality it does not have weight. The Gemara says in Masechta Sukkah that when a child begins to talk, Aviv loimdoi Torah, his father has to teach him Torah. Okay? The Gemara says, what is Torah? One pasuk. Torah tziva lanu Moshe Meirasha kehilas Yaakov. That is, the Gemara says, the definition of Torah. Torah was taught to us, commanded to us by Moshe. It is a Meirasha for the kehila of Yaakov. Torah does not belong to any individual. It never did, and it never will. It is Meirasha, not for a private individual, but kehilas Yaakov. And it's not only a Yerusha. A Yerusha is an inheritance is something that somebody gets, that old clunky piece of heavy furniture that you got from your grandmother, and you don't know what to do with it, and when nobody's looking, you chuck it out the side because it's not for you. That's a Yerusha. Torah is not a Yerusha. Torah is a Meirasha. It is a Meirasha. It is something that every Jew gets, and every Jew must pass on. And that is why this gentleman was able to tell Rabbi Yanai, you have my Yerusha. You have my Meirasha. And you know what else it is? It is Kehilas Yaakov. It belongs to the entire congregation. There is no person who has a monopoly over Torah. Now that does not mean that somebody can go and argue on a Rishon and say, listen, Ramban didn't own the Torah, neither did the Rashba. You can argue on him when you're the Rashba or you're the Ramban. It's like a fellow who just got into medical school who's arguing with a brain surgeon for 40 years and is telling him he doesn't know what he's talking about. So, Habibi, a little respect here. It may be your Torah, but you have to know what you're talking about. And it is a Meirasha that people will fight for. Most of you here don't remember about 31 years ago. Rav Shach Zatzal gave a speech in the Yad Eliyahu Stadium in Tel Aviv. And he said 3 words, and the country was in a tizzy for a month. He was talking about the non-observant, and he said, Bameh atem Yehudim. What makes you Jews if you don't learn? And they went nuts. What do you care? You don't keep Shabbos. I'm talking some. Those who don't keep Shabbos don't necessarily fast on Yom Kippur even. Don't eat kosher. What are you getting all bent out of shape about? Yerushasi Gabach. A Jew understands instinctively that the Torah is his Yerusha and nobody's going to take it away from me. You ever notice, it's not geschmack to see it, but when parents die and the matter of the inheritance is not organized, and even if it is, the kids fight. And they can fight even if they're millionaires. And they don't need the lousy couple of $100,000. What are you slugging it out for? You have more money than you and your children and your Eidiklach can spend. A person doesn't give away his Yerusha. That is the reality. And that is what this man told Rabbi Yanai, and Rabbi Yanai accepted it. There was a Jew who was in Tzfas over Pesach, or I think it was right after Pesach. And he went to a store to buy some food, and he didn't notice any tu'udah, any certificate that the man had sold his chametz on Pesach. So he went over to the owner and he said, where's your certificate? He said, I don't need a certificate. I'm not Jewish. I'm a guy. No problem. No problem with Chametz Shabbat Pesach. He went and he asked, this person went and he asked Rabbi Aaron Leib Steinman. Rabbi Aaron Leib says you can believe him. No Jew will say, I am not Jewish. If he's Jewish, he's not saying I'm a guy just to sell a loaf of bread. He's not doing it. And there's another aspect of this Yerusha. The Gemara says in Brachas that if someone dreams of a Nara Hamorasa, Yitzapa l'Torah, because Torah is like a person's relationship with Torah is like a relationship with a bride with whom he is engaged. Torah tziva lanu Moshe, the Gemara says, Meirasha kehilas Yankov al tikri Meirasha ele me'oirasa. What's the difference between being engaged and being married? Besides having to do the dishes and take out the garbage. When a person's engaged, his life is a dream. The sun smiles at him. The world's a wonderful place. He's looking forward to the future. Everything is promising. He's looking forward to everything. And a person's relationship with Torah, the Gemara says, Al tikri Meirasha ele me'oirasa, you're engaged, and not just for a few minutes. For your whole life, as we say, when we put the ritzuas around our fingers in the morning, ve'irastich li la'olam. A person is engaged forever. And you know something? The starry-eyed chassid and kala are starry-eyed when they're 20, when they're 40, when they're 60, and even when they're 80. Because when you're engaged, everything is great, and everything is promising, and the world sings at you. And there's an interesting thing. As I said, you can get engaged at 20, at 40, at 60. The Gemara tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu showed Rabbi Akiva teaching. And he was darshaning al kol tag v'tag and every letter in the Torah. And Moshe Rabbeinu says to Hashem, and this is the only person who he said it about, if you have someone like this in your world, why do you find it necessary to give Klal Yisrael the Torah through me? We don't need Torah tziva lanu Moshe. Rabbi Akiva could have given the Torah. And who did he say it about? He didn't say it about a kid who grew up in Meir and was saying Torah tziva lanu Moshe at the age of 3. He said it about Rabbi Akiva, who didn't start learning until he was 40. And that's the only one he said it about. And who until he was 40 wasn't sitting back and just surfing, but he hated Talmidei Chachamim, mi'iten li Talmid Chacham, v'anashchenu kachamar. That Rabbi Akiva, when he turned around at the age of 40, Moshe Rabbeinu was able to say, I'm redundant. It's okay, Hashem. Rabbi Akiva could do the job as well as I could. Dafka Rabbi Akiva. Because Mo'irasa is for every age. Now let's move on to the point that we want to stress today. It is Mo'irasa, Mo'irasha, Kehilas, Yaakov. It is only, Torah has value, only if a person understands that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to Kehilas Yaakov. Not Kehilas Yanai, not Kehilas anyone else. No Yochid, no group. Kimuvan. Keeping and doing and knowing. It's not a hefkevelt. You can't say what you want. There is a Messiah here. And Reb Chaim Shmulevitz, and I heard this from him many times, would cite our Achaim HaKadosh. Pasuk says in the lead up to Matan Torah, Vayisu merafidim, vayachanu bamidbar, vayichan sham Yisrael neged ahar. Everyone knows the Rashi. And vayichan sham Yisrael neged ahar. Rashi says ki yishachad b'leiv echad. And the Ohr HaKadosh over there describes the 3 conditions for Matan Torah. And the third one is vayichan sham Yisrael neged ahar ki ish echad b'leiv echad. That Klal Yisrael must work together as a unit. And Reb Chaim explained, he says, what's going on over here? He says the purpose of Yeshivat Mitzrayim was Tavdun es Elokim al Har Hazeh. Matan Torah could have 210 years of the most indescribable shibud, the Isis and the Maifsim, the Eser Makos, Yitzias Mitzrayim, Kriyas Yamsuf, it's all good. But if it's not Ki'ish Echad B'Leiv Echad, there will be no Matan Torah. And it is Kehilas Yaakov, in contradistinction to Yisrael, the weak, the vulnerable, the unsure of himself. That is the one to whom the Torah belongs. And here is the important point. It's not only about teaching. As a matter of fact, when a person is sitting and learning, let's say you're 15, you're 16, you're 20, you're 25, you're learning your Daf Yomi Shir, you're going to a Shir at night, during the day, or you're sitting and learning a whole day. You're not learning for yourself. That you have to know. A person is hovering over a Gemara, over a Rashi, over a Taisvis, over a Tzais, over a Kiva Eger. It's not about you. You're learning with an achrayus for Klal Yisrael. You're learning as one piece of the entire unit called Kehilas Yaakov. That is when your Torah has its full value. Rabbi Aaron Kotler, if there's one thing in his Sefer, and everyone knows Rabbi Aaron was the one who established in America the idea that a person and people should sit and learn, period. Beis Meirish Kavaya. And if there's one theme that runs through the entire Mishnah Rabbi Aaron dozens of times, it's that when a person learns Torah, he's not learning for himself. It's not fazich. You're part of this great body, this Mi Ka'amcha Yisrael, Goy Echad Ba'aretz, and you are learning not only for yourself, you're learning as a member of Klal Yisrael who has achrayus, that there be Torah in Klal Yisrael. And just like he says, if you have a field that's owned by partners or by brothers, and one person plants trees and their fruit belong to everybody. The Torah that you learn, if you're learning it as a member of Klal Yisrael, the Torah belongs to Klal Yisrael, and not only that, the Siyata D'Shmaya that you will have by your learning, because you're not learning for yourself, is going to be different. Shlomo HaMelech describes Torah in terms of a woman. In the Eshes Chayil, at the end of Mishlei. Pia pascha b'chachma v'soiras chesed al hashoina. And the Chazal ask, but Torah's chesed? Is there Torah that's eina shel chesed? And the Chazal say yes. Torah's chesed is Torah u'melamdo la'acherim. If a person learns and he knows that he has to teach others, that is the Torah that Shlomo HaMelech describes in the Eshes Chayil. That's Torah's chesed. And it's more than that. The source of the mitzvah of Limud HaTorah is from teaching. V'shinantem levanecha, that is the source of the mitzvah of Limud HaTorah, teaching. So it's not, as we say in the morning, Lilmoid Ulalamed Lishmar Velasais, first my mitzvah is to learn, and then my mitzvah is to teach. Not so. The reason it says it like that is because chronologically it doesn't work. You cannot teach unless you learn. But the ikar is the lalamed. And if you take a look at the Rambam in Hilchas Talmud Torah, the Rambam starts off first few halachas are all about teaching Torah, not about learning. You would think. First the man has to learn, then there's another mitzvah to teach. It's the other way around. The essence of Torah is spreading the Dvar Hashem. Kimuvan, you got to spread it to yourself as well. And even if a person sits, so you say, okay, very good. Let a person learn until he's able to teach, and then immediately go out and teach. Doesn't work that way. And you know why it doesn't work that way? Because the more pure, unadulterated Torah there is in the world, this is something that Chazon Ish said many times, the more of an atmosphere of learning, the more interest in learning there will be, the more receptiveness, the more ability of people to want to learn, to absorb the learning. That is all a function of how much pure limud haTorah there is. But as I said, when you're learning, you have to learn with a sense of achrayus. To the point, the Gemara says in Sanhedrin, Tzadik Aleph Amud Beis, Kol Hamayneya Halacha Mipi Talmud. Anyone who is either actively or as an accessory prevents someone from learning, it's if he is stealing his parental inheritance from him. And then the Gemara says something else. And the Gemara says that a person who is manei halacha b'talmud, afilu uber shebimei imai, even the embryo, the little child in the mother's womb, mekalel and Isai, they curse him. And the Mepharshim explain several of them. I believe the Ben Ish Chai, the Ben Yehuda, he may say it. What's the ubrim b'mei imai? Because you would think an uber b'mei imai, he can't learn, but he could, because the Malach teaches him. And mekalel and Isai, I heard from Rabbi Leib Steinman, means that this idea of being Maineya Halacha Mipi Talmud, and this could be in 50 different ways. This can be as a yeshiva bacher, it can be as a balabas, it can be as a person who's able to make things happen. Kol HaMaineya Halacha Mipi Talmud. Doesn't say from your Talmud. If you are able to enable, to facilitate someone's learning and you don't do it, it's afilu ubrim shebei iman mekalel inaisai. It is quite an unpleasant feeling to have. And you know why? Because you are doing something which contravenes everything that Judaism stands for. And we say in the morning, we say at night, and we say when we go to sleep, 3 times a day. Ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha b'chol levavcha, with all of your shatim, your emotions, your b'chol nafshecha, with your life, u'b'chol ma'adecha, and with your resources. And what does the Gemara say in Yuma Pevav? Ve'ahavta es Hashem Elokecha sheyehei Shem Shomayim Misayv Al Yodcha. Getting up in the morning saying, God, I love you.